Hi, and welcome to my YouTube channel called Tekoäly testissä. It's Finnish and means testing artificial intelligence. My name is Jukka Niittymä and I'm a head of AI and innovations in a creative agency called Sherpa in Finland. My job is to explore different possibilities of generative artificial intelligence applications, use, consultancy, and creative work in short. I decided to do my first video in English because I just wanted to try it. But unfortunately, during the past few years, the opportunities to speak English has been quite a few. So please forgive me if I am a bit stiff with my language and especially if I forget to use articles, because in Finnish language we don't have those and therefore I don't always remember to put them or use the proper article, for example. But anyway, this is a test and let's see how it goes. Maybe I'll continue and keep doing these in English every now and then, because the audience, international audience, is so much bigger, obviously, than the Finnish. But then again, doing videos in Finnish is much easier for me because I don't need to actively think so much what I'm about to say. I can just babble around. But anyway, with these disclaimers, let's jump into our test, which is at this time actually Google Workspace and Google Docs artificial intelligence. What using Docs AI means, for example, content creation. And I've read quite many studies during this summer about AI revolution and how it will impact different industries. And based on that, it's very clear that education is one of the biggest changing fields of life and science. Also, all kinds of expert work will change dramatically during the following years. But in education, I would say that the change happens now. And when, for example, kids come back to school from summer holidays, the way essays are written is not the same than it was, for example, a year ago. Personally, I believe this is an opportunity, but time will tell that how schooling systems around the world will react and what will happen. I will maybe come back to this topic later on, either here in my channel or in my blog or in LinkedIn. Okay, but as said, I've prepared a short prompt here in Google Docs, and using Google Docs AI is super easy. And what it means is that there is this one small button, help me write. And as you can see, there is a short prompt there I've made for this purpose. It's based on a book I'm reading at the moment. I will draw the cover in the screen, and I must emphasize that I'm not a specialist in this field of science. But anyway, this short prompt describes how we Homo sapiens traveled from Africa to Europe and Asia. And this is like a short summary of one small portion of the book. And let's see how using this turns into expert article. And now I put my prompt here, help me write an expert article based on the attached summary. And then there's the text like this. And now I just press create. It will take a few seconds, but compared to the time that it would require to write this article manually, the difference is obviously huge. All right, now it's finished. So let's see. It says that Neanderthals lived in Europe and Asia for hundreds of thousands of years. Yeah, that's pretty much from the prompt. They were very similar to modern humans in appearance, but they had some key differences, such as larger brain and more robust build. Yes, that is correct, according to the book I'm reading. And then it says that these large brain guys went extinct, and there are several theories about why this happened. I believe that. One of the theories that they were simply outcompeted by modern humans, and modern humans were more adaptable and had better technology, which gave them advantage in the competition for resources. Could be so, yes. And then there is a notion that maybe we brought diseases with Neanderthals were not immune to. This is something I cannot confirm, but of course it's pretty similar to the situation that colonialists did for native tribes when conquering Northern and Southern America. And then there is this another theory that Neanderthals interbreed with modern humans, and this resulted in a hybrid offspring that were less fit than their parent species. Okay, and then this would have led to decline to Neanderthal population over time. I cannot confirm or deny this theory. I'm not an expert, but could be so. Whatever the reason, the extinction of the Neanderthals is a tragic loss. Okay, they were highly intelligent and adaptable species, and their disappearance has left us with a lot of unanswered questions about our own evolution. Extinction of the Neanderthals is not an isolated event. There are like two other human species, Denisovans and small Floresians, who also went extinct after the arrival of modern humans. So this extinction suggests that modern humans may have had a negative impact on other human species, either through competition or violence. Well, obviously, that we can see in our own behavior at modern times. We still keep having a negative impact for each other, as we can see, for example, the situation in Ukraine is terrible, and I think that kind of stupidity should have ended a long time ago. But, well, maybe we don't learn from our past mistakes, and we need artificial intelligence to help us to learn and look things a bit more in a bigger picture and get rid of our violent behavior. And I strongly believe that AI can help us to better times if we use it right and responsible ways. But that's not a topic of this test. However, as we can see that the text is it's quite opinionated. It's not a bad thing. Maybe if this was, for example, a school essay, that could give some extra points for providing your own view. But anyway, it's quite good. And for example, a really smart student might write something like this. The language would not be as perfect, but then again, the content might be a bit similar, maybe not as sophisticated. I don't know. I haven't actually been teaching in primary school. In high school, I was a teacher a few years in early 2000 during my own studies of cinema and film. All right, then we could recreate this, or we could even refine, say how to make it better. We could say that formalize. Let's see what it does for the text. Obviously, this is something that could be done with several larger language models using natural language like Claude 2 or ChatGPT, either 3.5 or 4. But this is so easy because this is integrated into Docs, so it's like pressing a few buttons and go. All right, but now it did the new version, and as we can see, it's quite much the same. The wording is a bit more academic, maybe, but the content is pretty much the same. Very good demonstration of Google Workspace AI capabilities, I think. So then we could just insert this, and there we have an article about extinction of Neanderthals and other human species. This is like a huge deal for content production and education. It will get better. We are now witnessing the point where these generative artificial intelligences have been in public use for a few months, and they are going to get a lot better, like hundreds of times better in many ways. Their memory will be improved, modality will be changed so that it's like a multimodal, so it can create and understand many media. Like already GPT-4 understands images, and for example, Gen 2 from a runway is able to produce videos from text, images, and other videos. So these are like early steps, and we will see these features combining through different interfaces, and also there will be these like super AIs like GPT-5, for example, will most probably be able to create many kinds of contents. This is obviously a guess, but time will tell. So the world will be really, really different. And to be honest, I don't know what's the role of human in this stage of evolution. I hope we are able to act wisely, do smart decisions. Smart decisions, from my point of view, being such as learning to use these responsible ways, not trying to limit too much, because in the end, bad guys will not limit their actions, and the tech is out there already. And also, it's good to remember that it's us humans always who are prompting, at least at the moment, AIs, which means that it's always, at the moment, person who has these bad intentions. And those bad intentions should be reacted. Why people want to do bad things? My hypothesis is that it's because of not having hope for the future or having a bad childhood. Maybe we should discuss more about those topics than trying to limit the possibilities what generative artificial intelligence can do. That's my opinion. Hey, this turned out to be pretty much something else that I had planned to, but I made this like freestyle. And it is what it is. If this kind of content resonates and you like it, please subscribe and press like. Maybe if there are enough views, I keep doing every once in a while videos in English. I don't know, maybe. Feel free to comment. You can send an invite or follow in LinkedIn. And hey, if you stayed this long watching me babble about GenAI, thank you and hope to see you again. Bye.